Generational wealth. Generational wealth. Generational wealth. What is generational wealth? We asked our communities, and this is what they had to say.
Generational wealth to me is setting up a safety net for the future, not only for yourself, but for the generations to come, to not have the future generations, maybe in your own family, to have to go through the same trials that you had to go through. Maybe if you went through something hard when you were younger, maybe being poor, being middle class, or not having the money to have access to the things that other people around you do. It's setting up that safety net so that not only you, maybe later in your life, but also your kids, their kids, can end up having the luxuries that you would have wanted when you were young.
This campaign to create awareness to generational wealth is brought to you by the Department of Neighborhood's Generational Wealth Initiative, the Washington Housing Finance Commission, and Rainier Avenue Radio World. Create your generational wealth for you and the future of your families.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not stopping a Mercer Island street brawl, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World.
Around for a long, long
Hey y'all. Hello. This is Dr. Traci Harrell, and I could not be more excited today. It is March. Can you believe it's already March? I know. It's insane. So we are showing up because, there's a lot happening. Let me just say that. Most of you know that the work that I do, we're showing up as a part of Rainier Avenue Radio. So this is community radio. And we're showing up as a part of the Better Together Empowerment Series and the Living Powerfully Experience, right? I'm doing this as a part of a grant that was won through the National Black MBA Association that allows us to put free content in community. It allows us to show up and provide programming in community. We also won a little baby grant through WSMA, Washington State Micro Enterprise Association, because not only can this help you as an individual, this can also help you as a business owner. So we're focusing on not just, I just want to make sure we're clear, not just what you can do to create the life of your dreams. This is also about leaving a legacy, creating a space where your family, your friends, the people that you currently work with will see you showing up so differently that your life will be the example for everyone that follows. So this is about the Better Together Empowerment Series because it's so much better when we do this together. That's what we're doing. And how we're doing it is through what we call the Living Powerfully Experience. And it's with both positive intelligence as well as something that we call transformational inclusive leadership. Now, I have lots of videos of people who've actually gone through the process. They've gone through this 6-week process. And I have to be completely honest. This is not like for everyone. Like the full 6-week program, as transformational as it is, you have to be committed. You have to decide that whatever your life is, wherever you are in life, that you have to decide that this is something I need a different outcome. You also have to decide that I'm going to show up differently. This is what differently looks like, right? Like we've done this, we've shared some different pieces of this information, but you have to decide. What I love about this, Dennis Kimbrough, I'm part of a group called TSP, Traffic Sales and Profit, and they had Dennis Kimbrough, this amazing author who's written tons of books, who's like a living legacy in Black history. And I love these quotes. I'm going to share some quotes today. And hopefully this will be enough to convince you that when I say it's not for everyone, I don't mean that as a slight. This information is for everyone. Like everyone can benefit from what I say in the moment. But to truly transform, you have to decide every day, like I'm going to do this so that I can get that outcome, right? I'm going to show up differently so that I can have a different outcome. And this only matters when you've actually decided, I truly want to live powerfully. Everyone doesn't live powerfully. Everyone has chosen, right? We all choose our path, and day by day we choose our path. So what I'm going to share with you right now, and I love this. This is what he said. So when I show up here, he said, basically, if you want to do better than 80% of those around you, just show up. Pause. End of story. Like 80% of the people just don't show up for themselves. So when I show up here week after week after week and we're providing content for you, right? The next series is about to start again, right? We're going to go deeper week by week. And we got some people are a little shyer than I thought they were, to be perfectly honest, but they're able to tell their stories in a different way. We're inviting people to show up, you specifically to show up, because 80% of people just don't show up for themselves. I love this. He went on to say that you want to do better than 85%. He said, don't just show up. Show up on time. 85% of us don't show up on time. Showing up with some consistency, showing up on time, deciding that I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it at this point and I'm going to show up, right? You get up to 90% closer to achieving your goal, more so than most. Show up with a plan. And y'all know we have a plan. We have a plan that is so proven. I feel like I'm gifting like the cure to polio or something. It's like we have answers. We have very clear answers, and it's a gift. It's my gift in community. So me showing up for you is a gift. So I'm showing up with a very clear plan. And I'm also saying we have a plan, like the plan, which I will review today as quickly as possible, because most of you have seen a lot of these elements, but are you showing up for yourself? Have you decided, have you done the saboteur assessment? It's number one. You go to positiveintelligence.com. He'll put that in the chat. Positiveintelligence.com. When you go there, there's halfway down the page, you'll see this orange block, and it basically says, discover your saboteurs. That's the first step, and it's a baby step. It takes less than 5 minutes for you to do the saboteur assessment. And it's in doing that, it's the first step where you get to say whatever has been holding you back, and we call them saboteurs. Whatever has been holding you back, you get to identify it. You get to call it out. You get to say, okay, I see you. Right, I'm sorry, there's some blinds here that are shining on my face. So you get to show up. You get to show up differently. You get to show up for yourself, and you get to decide, yes, now I have a plan. We have a plan. Okay. That's 90%. He went on to say, don't just show up, although that's important. Don't just show up on time, although that is critically important. Again, make sure you have a plan. That's the third thing. His fourth thing at 95%, 95%, right? People have a commitment to carry the plan to the end. A commitment to stay with it. I know it sounds insane, but you guys know, I mean, 95% of people who set New Year's resolutions, it's March, and we're like, what was that? I don't remember what I said or why I said it or why I'm not doing it. It's just showing up. It's just showing up for yourself. That is super exciting. So what we're doing is we're going to share. Let me see if I get to, I will pull up my screen, present. Ooh, I love it when this works. Okay. Let's see if it's going to let me do this. It doesn't always work as smoothly as I would like to see it happen. It doesn't always work. It's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the three things that we've said from the very beginning we each need to do to truly change the status quo. And I love this. I love this more than anything because, you know, what success looks like for you as far as what my goals are, they may not be the same goals. But the good news is how we get to success if you're a human. I know it sounds crazy. If you're a human being, success actually does look the same. It does. I'm going to see if this thing lets me share this time. Let's see. Yeah, this is what happens when you're doing a live show and you got me clicking on my own buttons. Sorry about that. Okay, so we're gonna try that one more time. Daniel, I may have you work with me here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to see if I can share my own screen. Let's see. We're managing this live. If I kick myself out one more time, Daniel, you're allowed to. Let's see. So I'm going to present, share screen, share screen. Okay, kind of. Window, entire screen. Weird. Oh, this will work. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay. Is it sharing? Oh, I think it is. Okay, so all I have to do is make it a full screen and we should be good to go. I think. Give me a thumbs up, Daniel, because now I see the presentation. Okay, is it going? Are we good? Okay, I'm gonna put it back to full screen and assume that we are good. And let me know somehow if we're not. Okay, yay. So we've talked about this living powerfully experience, right? We said it's really about peak performance, peace of mind, and healthy relationships. I'm going to move really quickly because we've talked about awareness, action, and accountability. That's what this show is all about. We said that what we wanted to do, and we're doing this through community, right? It's what's in it for you, but this isn't just about one person, although you is where it starts. So when I say what's in it for you, it's what's in it for you as it relates to you as a leader in community, you as someone who is wanting to improve their performance, whether that's in business, in life, right, at work, at home. You want to improve your mental well-being. You want to reduce your stress and increase your happiness. You want to have better relationships with people at work and at home. You might have some youth in your life who want and need this similar work. And I've actually worked with more parents who say, oh my God, this is so good. Like my child would love this, or at least my child needs this. And so this really is about collaborating, innovating, and having them trust you and you trusting them with a new operating system, a new way of thinking. So it is about empowering yourself as an individual, the people that are around you, on your team, in your home, right? So we say teams and organizations. And what I love about this is that it really is about creating an inclusive culture. So you build new ways of thinking, new ways of being as individuals. And then as teams, you also share and change. And I know I've shared this before, this video that talks about where Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. And the reason I love this is because Will Smith was hijacked. So the question is, have you ever been hijacked by your emotions, your feelings? Of course, you have. But it's when you stay calm, when you're able to self-master, right? Self-manage. We call it self-mastery. That's really the 5 superpowers that we talk about. And we'll talk about that a little bit deeper today. We've talked about this concept, feeling like surfing, where you're getting new skills and new tools, how life can really make you feel like you can't stand on your own 2 feet, but with the right mindset, that same storm can be like, bring it on. I'm here for it. So when you think about living powerfully, I was just sharing people that I believe are living powerfully. And if you don't know what PQ is, positive intelligence, most of us have heard of this concept of IQ. Most of us have also heard of emotional intelligence or EQ. And PQ, or positive intelligence, is really the best of both IQ and EQ. It's PQ. So living powerfully is really about, identifying when your brain is sabotaging you, seeing it clearly by doing that saboteur assessment at positiveintelligence.com. You were basically just saying, I see you. It's as simple as saying, I see you. And then you do a PQ rep, which is some breathing, some mindfulness, some pause. It involves breathing as well as physical, whether you're looking or touching, feeling your feet on the ground, your butt in your chair, whatever it is, but it's a moment. It's really that pause. It's where you have a fork in the road and you get to choose. You pause. That breathing, these are your brain. These are your brain. This is your brain. So these are pathways, right? When an event happens, that PQ rep allows you to go down a path where you see everything as a gift. And it's not bad. They're not saboteurs, right? Your saboteurs don't get to take over. Even though you see them, you get to pause and say, oh, no. I'm going to do this other thing. I'm going to choose this as see this as a gift, and I'm going to operate from a different frame of mind. And I love it. So again, we've talked about how this is research-based. It's positive psychology, neuroscience, performance science, and cognitive behavioral psychology. So it's a synthesis of all of these things that really produces the results of positive intelligence. And you don't need to know about all these things. Just know that this is how it's backed. This is what it's based on. So we make it super simple, right? There's insight and information that you get each week, but it's really about the practice of doing things differently. You're creating new neural pathways through what we call mental fitness. So it's really lasting change requires 80% of that mental muscle change. It's 20% insight. That's why people hear something new and they're like, I know what to do. I'm just not doing it. I'm not practicing it. I'm not what Dennis Kimbrough said. I'm not showing up. I'm not showing up on time. I'm not showing up like I said. I'm not showing up with a plan. And I'm not showing up serious about getting it done. That's why I started there, because I can say this all day long. And it's like this gift that blows my mind, right? Like it is a gift that is life-changing. Lasting change, things that you I know many of you are like, I've had people tell me that it sounds too good to be true until they go through the process. And then they're like, oh my God, it really is true. So this is for you. And again, we can't offer this. So we also decided that we're going to put the clear steps in the system out in the public as quickly as possible, as often as possible. So people are like, okay, I get it. I see it. This is kind of our new normal, right? So the simplicity of the operating system simply says, if you're feeling any type of negative emotion, stop. That means you're in a saboteur mode, that saboteur assessment. You don't even have to know what to call it, but just it's not where you want to be, right? Something is not pushing you forward toward the goals that you want. So then you're going to do some PQ reps, which is that pause, breathing, quieting your mind, being physical, seeing something, feeling something, doing different. It's like a pause. It is an absolute, I'm going to now activate the sage by choosing something different. I'm going to remember and assume that sage perspective. Number 3, I'm going to assume the sage perspective that every problem can be converted into a gift and an opportunity. And then I'm going to generate the gift. We're going to talk a little bit more about what generating the gift means. So again, there could be multiple gifts when something crazy happens. Right now, I've been so focused on nonprofit. I haven't been focused on how do I show up and get paid to do the work that I'm doing, right? Like I often gift my time and things change and I just keep going and don't like pause to say, well, there's a cost to everything. So this is how we're showing up, right? The gifts can be knowledge, the gift of power, the gift of inspiration, the gift of information, right? The gift of P could be a gift of new perspective, but things happen when you decide something positive is going to come out of this, right? You've already decided. There's a lot of words on this page, but the only thing you need to know is the link at the top or the link at the bottom. The link at the top is kind of a shortcut. It's know yours _living powerfully. It's a bit.ly, but you can also simply go to positiveintelligence.com and you'll see down middle of the page, you'll see this little orange box here, this little judge guy. He's the judge. He's the number 1 saboteur. So that's how you do this quiz. And then what you're going to find out is that we all have saboteurs. Again, judge is the number 1 saboteur, but there's all these other saboteurs, right? The controller, the hyperachiever, the restless, the stickler, the pleaser, the hypervigilant, the avoider, the victim, and the hyper irrational. So there's 10 saboteurs in total. And at the end of the day, you want to be able to just read about them in the beginning. You do your little saboteur assessment. You explore the details for each of them just so that you see them. Now, there's a lot deeper work that we can do on it, but at the surface level, you will have change just by recognizing, oh, I think I'm here. I think I'm seeing this thing show up right now. These have positive attributes, but when they're overdone, that's when they become the saboteurs. When they're not leading you to the path and to the outcomes that you want, that's when they become the saboteurs. So you'll get a saboteur assessment. They'll have numbers next to it. You'll have characteristics and thoughts for each one. This happens to be one that's called the stickler. And at the very bottom, I love that it actually shows all of them, right? You can kind of click through them, but you click on explore, you can go deeper. And at the very bottom, it talks about the origin, like where does it come from in our childhood? So you can be like, most people are like, okay, I see you, right? Because if you answer the little assessment accurately, then this is just how our brains work. It's that neuroscience we were talking about earlier. So we talked about this before, right? That there's a left side and a right side of your brain. And when you do those PQ reps, you see that pink and yellow and orange on the right side. That's what we're doing. We're actually, the more you do PQs, PQ reps, PQ breathing, I actually call them the PQ power prayers. Because for me, the beauty of this is it's scientific, but it's also spiritual, right? That's the thing. I have my pastor who's leading a series right now at my church, which is New Beginnings Christian Fellowship. And my pastor, he's just wonderful. He's brilliant. And he is actually leading a series, or his focus for the year is called Get Better. Get better. Like, let's just get better. Stop playing and let's get better. And I love how he started the year. Like, do you really want to get better? Like, if you do, that means you got to do the work. You got to see when your mind is sabotaging you. You got to see when your mind is serving you, and then do the things that allows you to activate and shift in those moments, right? It's about finding that X factor, right? Building new mental fitness. And it actually happens scientifically through neuroscience, and there's technology, there's an app and everything that you can use. With 6 weeks of practice, you can dramatically improve your performance and your productivity. You can be calmer, clearer, and happier. 80% of people currently score below the minimum of what we call mental fitness. 80%. We're back to that 80% of people that don't show up for themselves. Like, these numbers they're made up, right? They're everywhere. They're in all the research. But the good news is there's so much also great research that says this is how you can fix it. This is what you can do. So this is the book. It's called Positive Intelligence. Over to the right, it's a simple book. And when you join this program that we're leading, it actually allows you to have the book for free. Achievement, potential, and PQ. So you basically get to do this work. And I love that National Black MBA has decided, both for adults, for youth, right, that are part of our Leaders of Tomorrow program, for entrepreneurs, because that's one of our focus areas as well. We see the benefit for organizations who say they want to increase the inclusion in their businesses. Hey, like all of y'all, this right here, this is how that works. So it's really about mental fitness. And there's 3 core muscles that we ask you to focus on. Mental fitness is about showing up for peak performance, peace of mind and wellness, as well as healthy relationships. So mental fitness is really about improving your capacity to respond to life's challenges, not only just positively, but positively and powerfully. That's why we have this. That's why I call this a living powerfully experience. It's positive, but it's so powerful, right? So you get to show up, right, in exactly the way you want, with the outcomes. Impact is everything. Like, you can talk about a thing, but if you're not doing the work, remember that 80% of people that actually show up, that's what this is about, showing up. So if mental fitness is about being more positive and powerful, right, increasing your capacity to be both powerful and positive, then it's really about those automatic habits of your brain, right? When any event happens, right, whether it's waking up in the morning and you deciding, okay, I'm going to go get this sweet and sugary, iced coffee latte thing with chocolate and whipped cream and etc. But you're also saying, I want to lose weight, right? It's probably not the right choice first thing in the morning, right? And so you get to reprogram your mind and decide, you know what, I'm going to intercept whatever that automatic action is. Maybe it's yelling at someone that you choose you really don't want to. Maybe it's this choice that you make by not working out, or maybe it's the idea of starting a business that you haven't done, or hey, I want to go after that new promotion, but I don't really feel very confident. This is also, how do you increase your confidence in yourself? This is it. This is the work. If someone believes in you, you believe in yourself, you intercept those thoughts. I'm actually combining 3 different certifications that I have. So it's not just positive intelligence, right? It's also about the limiting beliefs that you have, and you get to intercept those beliefs and move to a different level of activation. So you get to decide, you know what, this is a positive thing, right? And so we talk about the power of factor analysis. So the root cause, right, or radical simplification says there's really only 3 colors, 3 factors that go into thousands of other colors. It's red, blue, and yellow. That's factor analysis. So similarly, factor analysis, when we said, hey, the root cause of mental fitness, there's only 3 things that you need to do as well, right? And that's scientifically proven. That's why I started with the research. You have to intercept your saboteurs, increase your sage, and focus on the power of self-command. I am texting my producer in case he needs to speak to me because I can't see him right now. So again, there are 3 core muscles. There's intercepting the saboteurs, there's the power of self-command, and then there's the sage power. There's the sage superpowers. So Daniel, I'm gonna need you to text me or something so I know when to stop her. Ooh, it's 6:30. Should I stop right now? Let's see.
Welcome to a pivotal moment.
I think that's a yes.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Don't forget to log on www.rainieravenue radio.world.
Welcome to the coronavirus pandemic. I'll take coronavirus for 100. Fever, chills, shortness of breath, loss of taste or smell. What is stay at home and isolate? Correct.
Coronavirus for 200.
Inability to stay awake, persistent pain or pressure in chest, trouble breathing. What is seek immediate help?
Coronavirus for 500.
Crippling and potentially dead infectious disease eliminated in the United States with vaccination.
What is the polio vaccine? I'll take coronavirus for 700.
The Daily Double! Should I take the coronavirus vaccine? Wait. Hold up. This is not a game. It's time for serious discussions. We have coronavirus vaccines, but not everyone is comfortable taking them. Here's the facts. Based on what has been proven about vaccines for other diseases, COVID-19 vaccine may help keep you from getting seriously ill, even if you do get the virus. Getting vaccinated also may protect people around, particularly those at greater risk for severe illness from COVID-19. We don't yet have all of the answers. Get informed, talk to your healthcare physician, and make the right decision for you. This is a message supported by the Washington State Department of Health.
Hello, listener. What's important to you about what's going on in your community? Are you interested? Are you concerned? In any case, I invite you to tune into my show, Seattle Here and Now, on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Why? I will be covering a wide range of topics important to you and impacting the community. Each show will have a special guest or guests to share with you information on a variety of subjects that are happening here and now in Seattle. I promise I will work hard to make my show informative, interesting, and entertaining. Be sure to listen to Seattle Here and Now on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Women Empowerment Talk Radio, your roadmap to business success. Tune in every Sunday at 3 p.m. on Rainier Avenue Radio.world, providing resources and sharing motivational experiences from the everyday entrepreneur. Tune in Women Empowerment Talk Radio every Sunday, 3 p.m. on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Atlantic Street Center has been serving the children, youth, and families of the Seattle-King County area since 1910. We partner with families and communities to raise healthy, successful children and youth through services including counseling, early learning, youth development, domestic violence, and education support for school-aged children. Committed to serving the African-American community, Atlantic Street Center provides services and support for all marginalized people. Learn more at AtlanticStreetCenter.org.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Check us out on social media, Facebook and Instagram, Rainier Avenue Radio.world, and on Twitter at Rainier Ave Radio.
All right, y'all. I love this. So I'm going right back into my system. I'm going to share as a full screen, and I'm going to assume it's working unless my producer tells me otherwise. So what we talk about, y'all, when we said, when Dennis Kimbrough said all we have to do is show up for ourselves, this is what showing up means, right? We're going to do 3 things with this work. And then we're going to talk about what that looks like. But intercepting your saboteurs, first, you got to know what they are. You got to be able to say, okay, I see. So you're intercepting the saboteurs as the 3 core muscles. Intercepting your saboteurs, that's the stop. Like, I see you, and I'm going to pause. I'm not going to continue to do that. When you pause and when you breathe, right, when you decide, we call it PQ reps. It could be 10 seconds. It could be 2 minutes. It could be 15 minutes. I wake up and try to do 30 minutes every day, right? I need to do it throughout the day as well. A lot's going on in my life right now, so I need you to do it throughout the day, right? Like an alcoholic. It's like you got to pray and meditate throughout the day. So if there's something that is eating at you, you need to be able to self-command. It's beautiful to be able to shift your thoughts, to not go down the path where your saboteurs would normally take you. That's where the 80% get to show up differently. That's where exceptional is. That's what living powerfully is about. It's stopping those automatic brain responses that you really can't be held accountable for because they served you when you were younger. They served you in minor ways, in regular applications. It's when they're overdone that you then have to intercept what we call the saboteurs. That's when self-command becomes, okay, I can do something differently now. And then even greater than stopping something that's holding you back and saying, okay, I'm now in control. I brought the control back to my prefrontal cortex, right? I'm not in a fight or flight. I'm not doing what I would automatically do per those 10 saboteurs. You're going to love that part, really, I promise you. But it's just the beginning. It's just a little, I see you. It's the breathing. It's the practice. It's the doing. The more energy you put behind the breathing and the pausing, then you actually are creating new neural pathways. Your brain is like, oh yeah, she doesn't just fly off the handle. She doesn't go and do those things. He doesn't do that way anymore. This person, when people talk about being differently, I know this sounds simple, but this is what being differently looks like, right? And this activating your sage superpowers is the next half. I want to go a little deeper on that today. So again, this is a 6-week program, and some people are like, well, why does it take that long? You're literally rewiring stuff that you've had in your head, right? For 40, 30, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So you're actually showing up saying, I'm going to, first of all, understand and focus on this concept of the self-command muscle, right? Like I understand that. The neuroscience of it, I get it. Then you're going to practice the saboteur interceptor muscle. Right? So it is a workout. It's mental fitness. So you're going to identify the saboteurs. You're going to work through that process, right? To intercept them, to stop them. Just seeing them and calling them out is enough. Believe it or not. It really is. And then the real mastery comes when you are able to truly amplify your sage muscles. That's what happens during week 4 to 6. So I call it a 6 to 8 week program because even before week 1, I realized we got to bring people in with clarity around their vision. And then after week 6, which really new content is coming in all the way through week 6, week 7 is now the application. How are you going to show up differently moving forward? So it's 6 weeks of PQ content, and I layer on work I've done with success training. I'm a certified success coach. I'm a certified David Bear facilitator. So I'm a certified transformational coach. So I bring in other things, but there is some foundational content that's beautiful, beautiful and applicable. Check this out. You get a beautiful app. You get this app, and it has a daily focus for you. It has a PQ gym. It has lots of information, videos and audios and all kinds of stuff that you can listen to. They're like 2 minutes and 1 minute and 3 minutes, up to 12 minutes if you want to go into the gym and like kind of practice the breathing and the pausing. It's very relaxing. But it's really about, that's the interception. So you really want to do that as much as possible. The busier you think you are, if you're like, I don't have time for this, then you need this more than anybody else. Because you think about how much time you waste with your saboteurs. If you just do that 5-minute saboteur assessment and then think about how much time you actually waste, this positive intelligence program, it's really my amplified version of positive intelligence. So that's why I call it the Living Powerfully experience. So positive intelligence is a part of it, but it's maybe, I don't know, I would say probably 30% of the total program. It's about 60 or 70% in the very beginning, because there's a lot that already comes with this. But what the true transformation that happens, it's so much bigger, it's so much grander, and you actually deserve having a life of your dreams. You deserve to live powerfully. You deserve to master this transformation in what we call mental fitness. So that little caterpillar that's moving from scooching on the limb to turning into the butterfly, that's really where you are when you're being invited to be a part of this program. And if this is something you want to do, we encourage you to do it with others, to do it with someone else that you can have as an accountability partner, that you can have as a success partner, that you can celebrate with. And we also bring you into community as well. And then I love this because, you know, we talk about the sage superpowers, but you may be like, what's the sage? Remember, we started out by that view where I said it's the event, that moment, and then you can either go to the left side of the brain where the saboteurs live, or the right side of the brain, which is where the sage live. That's where all the positive emotions live. That's where peace and calm and your clarity, creativity, that big picture, that's what's on the right side of your brain. So that's when you pause and breathe. That's what you're activating. And you're operating from the sage perspective, and I'll repeat what that is. That means that every outcome or circumstance or situation can be turned into a gift or an opportunity. And I'm struggling right now. I'm willing to put it out there into the universe. I have a contract that I got through one of these government agencies, and we won the contract over 2 years ago, $0. They haven't put it out actively or whatever. It's a mess. It's impacted me financially in a big, big way. So I'm struggling. Right. But I know that too is going to be a gift and an opportunity. It could be just a mess. But I'm like, you know what? I believe this too will require me to activate. It will require me to be more creative, to find some new avenues to work it out. So, and it's not just because they call this the sage perspective, which is part of the neuroscience, but this is spiritual too. Right. I believe that things will always work out for my good, right? God's eyes on the sparrow. So it's scientifically proven and it's spiritually aligned. So you get all of the benefits guaranteed to work. I love that. It really is. So again, back to this. This is that fork in the road, the event. You get to choose. You get to activate differently. And you do it through these 10-second PQ reps. I'm going to pause real quick and I'm going to breathe. I'm just breathing loud because we're on the radio and video. So again, you breathe 3 or 4 times in slowly and then breathe out. And what's exciting is you get to decide. You get to truly choose how you show up. Just making sure. Yep, we are good. Okay. Sorry. So just making sure, checking my time. So I love that. So a 10-second PQ rep can be a couple of things. You see this finger? So we like to say breathe and touch your fingers slightly, ever so slightly, so you can feel the ridges on each finger. You can also squeeze your toes on the carpet, which I'm doing right now. If you're driving and traffic is crazy, you can squeeze and release the wheel. Not really, don't release the wheel, but you know what I mean. Squeeze tight and then less tight. Squeeze tight and less tight. You can do that for any part of your body. You can also be outside. It's been so sunny and beautiful, and listen, or even inside, like what sound is the closest to you, and then put your focus on the sounds that are most distant to you. You can smell, you can look at the beautiful flowers or look at trees blowing. So PQ practice is really about breathing, bringing attention to your breathing, but also these other senses, right? Physical senses. That automatically, it sounds so simple, like almost too good to be true. I swear to you, it is good and it is true. It's not too good to be true, but it is good and it is true. So what would be different if you could actually command, if you have more command in your mind? What would be different? Everything would be different. So you get to show up and decide, am I going to accept that thing? Whatever the negative thoughts, any memories, any setbacks, you just get to pause and do some PQ reps. Let go and shift your mental focus. I know it sounds insane. You have to practice it and it works. Remember that slide that said, 20% insight, 80% doing, you just got to do it. So you decide, I'm going to accept this thing whenever negative thoughts come into your mind, right? I'm not going to allow it to shift, right? I'm going to accept it. I'm going to convert it. I'm going to use my superpowers and I'm going to convert it into a gift. I'm going to generate the gift. I don't see it right now, but I'm going to use my 5 superpowers, right? I'm going to go through this operating system, back to this. I'm going to pause when anything negative if I'm feeling negative. Recognize that I'm in saboteur mode. I'm going to do some PQ reps to quiet the saboteurs and to activate the sage side of my brain. I'm going to assume the sage perspective, and then I'm going to activate the sage superpowers. Let's talk about that. If the sage perspective is that every outcome or circumstance that may appear negative, everything can be turned into a gift or an opportunity, right? Then that's about, the left side of your brain says, it's the kind of the side of the brain where you're analyzing things. The right side is where these 5 superpowers live. So when we say activate your sage brain, that's the power to empathize with yourself and others, to pause and to explore. As a curious anthropologist, I just need a little bit more information. So say someone is always aggravating you. If you did these 5 things, it would change everything. If you decided that instead of yelling back or getting upset, I'm going to empathize with myself and the other person, put myself in their shoes. I'm going to explore, ask maybe some questions, some clarifying questions. Why might this be? Maybe they're upset and you may want to ask the question, right? You may be getting upset and you may want to just get a little bit more information, right? Navigating is really about you looking ahead, looking into the future and thinking, how would I like for this to end for me and for this person? If a win-win was possible, how would I like for that to end? Like, what are my personal values? And I believe in being courageous and I believe in being honest, right? Like if I say I want to do something, I don't want the next thing that I say to be the opposite of what I said. Like I said, I don't like, although I do that sometimes too. Sometimes I do. Like I curse a little bit more than I want to sometimes when I'm like trying to be joking. That's the hood side comes out. And I'm like, okay, I can do better. Right? Like I really can do better. But when you're like being intentional and you know that you say one thing and then your actions look different, that's kind of the concept of being, congruent, like having consensus with what you say and what you do. And so, cognitive dissonance is another term that they use, but really you want to just navigate to say, how do I really want to show up here? And is what I'm saying aligned with what I really want to have happen for me and this other person? So you want to improve your relationships with someone else, then you really want to kind of have a different conversation. Also innovate. It's now I can be creative. Like what gifts might be coming out of this? What might I do differently? And then activate. Now that you've empathized, explored, navigated, and innovated, explored like what options, what gifts could come out of this. Now you're ready to activate, but you don't start by activating. Oftentimes something happens and people react. They go do something. This is the pause. This is the power of the pause and self-mastery. I know it sounds simple, guys, but I promise you, it is everything. It's everything. I've been doing it myself, and I'm a work in progress. God knows I'm a work in progress, but clarity is king, and all you got to do is show up. That's how we started this show. We started it with the concept of truly showing up for yourself and for those around you. I love about this. Escape and see what is happening with my presentation. Let's see. Okay, so I am showing it. Oh, you didn't tell me I was like on top of it. Let's see. It's not moving forward for me, so I'm just checking out. Okay, there we go. So again, the concept of empathizing is deeply understanding people's feelings, their needs, their desires, but also include your own, right? Exploring, discover all the important factors contributing to the problem before deciding on any solution. So you just want to ask questions without judgment. You want to innovate, meaning generate the best possible solutions. After you've navigated, to say, like, I want to make sure that whatever we choose aligns with your values or missions. And you can navigate before and or after innovating. I like to do it before as well, because you're now kind of narrowing your focus. I can't just do anything, right? My values say that I'm going to be courageous. I'm going to try to do the right thing for everyone. I'm going to try, right? Like those are my values. And then, so if I'm innovating, I can't just do anything, right? Because now, I want to make sure that I'm walking in, aligned with my values. And then activating, once you've done those 4 things, and that takes practice as well. So it's a 6-week process, because you're learning how to do those things. You're doing it in real time, and you're bringing it back to a group. And I've done the PQ mastery. I'm super excited about that. So we get to come back and actually talk through and walk through, what does fearless action look like? Clear-headed, laser-focused action. That's what this is about. So we get to talk about the saboteurs. We get to focus on the 5-stage superpowers, but really more than anything, we want to get you out of, when these negative emotions show up, we want you to respond in a positive way. So you get to leverage that for about 1 second. And then you come back to these 3 things, right? We said you want to intercept the saboteurs, increase the sage, and focus on self-command. That's the focus. That's really where we are in all of this work. So at the end of the day, if I had to ask you one question and you were like, well, is it really possible? Can one really, really shift from saboteur to sage, even in a tough challenge? Yes. Yes, for sure you can. But it's really about the depth of the shift, the speed of the shift is all about your mental muscle strength. So you're practicing every day. You're practicing throughout the day so that you are stronger and better, right, in order to respond in the way that you want. So if our goals today was to provide awareness, action, and accountability, hopefully you feel much more aware. Hopefully you feel like you have more action. Hopefully you see that I am here for you. So this is how you can reach me. It's Traci at itsallbiggerthanme.com. And again, we are doing this as a part of the Better Together Empowerment Series. We have several people in community. I've been doing so much deep community engagement. Our next full series will be starting next month. And so I could not be more excited. If you'd like to be part of that, please feel free to email me, Traci at itsallbiggerthanme.com. You could text as well, and simply say, I'm in. And then there's a process where we got to make sure that you're in, like you're really in, that you're ready to do the work. We actually paid for several individuals that had life challenges, and we want this to be a good time for you, as well as for it to be effective for those around you. So what I can say without a doubt, and I'm going to kind of go back to this part of the presentation, is, remember I started with Dennis Kimbrough, and what he shared was, there's a few more slides. But what Dennis Kimbrough shared was, this is so important for you to show up, for yourself. So this is what showing up actually means. It actually means there's a 1-hour weekly training by Shirzad Chamine. He's the author of the book, Positive Intelligence. There's a weekly meeting that happens as a group, as a part of a pod meeting. And then somehow throughout the day, between you breathing and pausing throughout the day and kind of being intentional throughout the day, we're expecting 10 seconds, 2 minutes, overtime, 15 minutes in PQ exercises. And it doesn't need to be in the app, ideally, right? You're seeing some things because the little 2-minute videos in the app or audios in the app are also information tailored to you and your saboteur. So it's beautiful. Like, this thing is so well done. It's guaranteed to work if you work it. Even with people who didn't do everything, they got huge benefits out of it. So I just want to clarify, this is what showing up means. So when we said show up for yourself, 80% of people don't show up. So we got a plan. This is what the plan looks like. This is what it looks like for you. And this is what it looks like in community. But we also are offering an opportunity for you to show up in corporate environment. So this is our community offerings. Let's just see if it moves through. There's some more participant info that's on our website, Living Powerfully, participant info. And what I really wanted to share really quickly is there's a number of ways that this information is applied. I haven't really gotten to share that as much as I'd like to. So if you can believe that as an individual, right, there's a 6-week program, and the 6-week program is this foundations for individuals, right, that we call positive intelligence. On top of that, you're building a team culture. You get to focus on team growth, and you get to focus on team impact. But you really starting with yourself. You're starting with how can this benefit me? And then by the time you get to week 7, then we're focusing on the team impact, which I really love. Some groups are going to actually start with team earlier in the process, but they're going to be very intentional about that, right? They know that the individual work is hugely important, and they have work they want to see happen within their team. So I love that part. And so what I also love is there's different modules within the team. So you get to focus on mutual accountability, healthy conflict, earn trust, and triple purpose. And of course, there's lots and lots of measures before and after. So it's beautiful, but it's also can be applied to so many different things. It can be applied to change management, as you can see here. I'll move this down here, over here. It can be applied to, sorry about that. I don't know how to move it. I don't know what to do with that. It can be applied to change management. It can also be applied to coaching others. This is what that looks like. We apply this PQ operating system to improve your ability to support others on your team. We talk about saboteur contagion, and we also talk about this methodology, how it really changes everything for you and your team. What I love is this concept of applying positive intelligence for conflict management, discovering how to really view the sage perspective, and when conflict happens, if you assume it's unavoidable and not inherently bad, then you're able to use the gift, find the gift, right? Why it arises, and then you're able to work through it quickly. I also love that you can apply positive intelligence to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Not only apply it, but use it to create a culture where diversity, equity, and inclusion actually happens, actually changes everything, because now you have a different way of engaging. And I think most of us, I could be wrong, but most of us have heard the concept of emotional intelligence, where positive intelligence and emotional intelligence are sisters, with this being kind of the amplified big sister, right? It allows you to make better decisions and do so much more. It's a beautiful thing. Energy and impact optimization. I think this right here is one of the ones that naturally results in that immediate impact, because you want to do your high impact activities, things that actually bring you high energy, that pour into you, and versus things that actually drain you. So you can actually design the life of your dreams. That's also living powerfully. Obviously, most of us have heard of the concept of growth mindset. This is like not only conceptually, but this is how you operationalize a growth mindset using the operating system. The concept of happiness is actually one of the most prominent courses at Harvard now. People really want to discover unconditional happiness, right? This is how you find truly unconditional happiness. It also focuses on various forms of leadership, extraordinary leadership, leaders that live powerfully. This is the basis of all of the things, right? I know it sounds crazy. Of course, you can apply this to parenting. I said that earlier. I have a niece whose children, my grandnieces, are actually engaged in this work, and it's because she wanted to leave them a legacy. The power of persuasion is also something that we need to focus on as well. And my last two are productivity, relationship mastery, resilience, self-actualization, stress management, and wellness. Oh my goodness. That was a lot, right? I've never been able to cover that much in such a short amount of time, but I am grateful to Daniel, our host. And for
wow.
Stop. So hopefully y'all got to see how applicable this is. This is why I've been so excited all this time, is that it's about the Better Together Empowerment Series and the Living Powerfully experience. It's all of those things. We may come back to those in the end and talk a little bit deeper about them for our next show, but I really, really, really want you guys to get ready, do the Living Powerfully experience, the Saboteur assessment, and get ready to change your life. That's it. See y'all soon.